everybody, and welcome to Bling It On, how to heat print new bling trends with your heat press. I'm Courtney Kubitza, and I'm particularly excited for this class. I love every now and then being able to share new bling trends and how to imitate them with your heat press with apparel decorators. And so this is a class that's one of my favorites, and it allows me really to go into the retail sector and see what's trending even in wholesale and how we can create those same looks with a variety of heat transfers. And so today we're going to look at how to use different heat transfer styles, particularly heat transfer vinyl, as well as digital heat transfers, and even some sublimation to create some really cool full color bling prints. And so with that, we're going to go ahead and head over to the heat press. I have a ton of items sitting here on the table that we're going to be printing, and so I think it's best just to dive in and start showing you some of these looks that you can print. And so I like to usually start with the most basic, and that is just creating a single color glitter print with your heat press. And so I want to show you how to print something as simple as a sweatpant using your heat press and a heat transfer vinyl called CAD Cut Glitter Flake. And this is just a glitter heat transfer vinyl that's been cut on the vinyl cutter, so I've already got my transfer ready to go. And then I can start to load my item onto the heat press. And one thing we're seeing trending a lot, especially in the wholesale market, is the ability to package together multiple items. And so if you're printing t-shirts with any heat transfer material, you should be printing or offering sweatpants or different items like bags to put with them. And so we're going to show you how to print specifically a pair of sweatpants. So I'm going to just change out my bottom platen. Now when I go to print sweatpants like this, I have a few options. I could lay them flat on top of the heat press, but I'm going to have some trouble getting a flat, even print surface on my transfer. And when I load an item onto the platen, I always want to make sure I'm getting as flat as a print area as possible, getting the zippers, the seams, and all of the bulk off of that heat press. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change out this bottom platen to a smaller size, and the Hotronix Fusion actually has the option to switch into a sleeve and leg platen, which allows you to quickly thread on multiple items. Now if you don't have the Hotronix Fusion heat press, you can easily use a heat printing pillow within the sweatpants. Just takes a little bit more time to load that within the item and get it flat, so I like to switch to the platen. Now once I have my item loaded, I'll switch it to the overhead camera so you guys can see that I'm getting a nice flat print area. And so this has been able to get all of the bulk out of the way. Got a little bit of a pocket I want to make sure to get off there. But this allows me to print all the way up through 6 inches wide and 20 inches long, so I can start to get creative with the prints that I'm putting down these capri pants from Boxercraft. I'm going to preheat just to check my pressure. Also adjust to make sure I've got the accurate pressure and get some of the moisture and wrinkles out of the garment. CAD Cut Glitter Flake, which I'm applying, applies at 320 degrees for 15 seconds. So I'm just going to place this down the front side of the leg print. And you can get creative when you start personalizing sweatpants on where you want to put the logo. I'm actually going to go a little bit further down. So I've got a bottom leg print. You could go at the top, creating a print at the top of the thigh, or even get a full print going all the way down from the top to the bottom. So you can really get creative with the placement that you want to create using these platens. 10 seconds, a quick hot peel. You can see how quick and easy it is to personalize these, to be able to package them together with maybe a t-shirt or a sweatshirt or a unique item to be able to sell to a group or a school. And I particularly really like this because it specifically adds some bling down to it. And if I'm already creating and cutting this glitter flake for my t-shirt, it's very inexpensive to cut this small, let's say 2-inch by 10-inch piece. I've got about 40 cents in material here, and I can easily package this together and sell more items to my customer. And so always keep that in mind. I like to sell as much as possible to every person who comes into the door. And so single color designs are pretty fast and pretty easy, but one thing I like to do is start to create multicolor looks with the heat press and the vinyl cutter. And when you start to mix and match glitter heat transfer vinyl like CAD Cut Glitter Flake, you're not supposed to be able to direct layer the two over top of each other, so I couldn't put this down in a nice full layer and then directly place my glitter flake over top. The challenge with that is that I won't have a completely durable print, so both colors need to actually touch the fabric. And if you haven't seen these yet, these are by far the most popular look when you're creating designs for school and spirit wear. We call them knockout designs. So I'm just going to switch my platen out one more time, and then we can start to talk about this design and how it really helps you to sell more products. And so the knockout designs, basically what they do is they just simply take a piece of clip art, maybe a heart or a mascot, and they knock that out from the background design that's, say, a school name like Mustang Pride. So I'm going to load my ladies t-shirt on here to my press, and I'm just using a standard 100% cotton ladies t-shirt. It's district made, so it's from Sanmar. I'm going to go ahead and preheat it to get some of the moisture and wrinkles out and double check my pressure. Once I have that adjusted, I can line up my background color of the glitter flake. And we actually have an entire video on stahlstv.com called Knock Them Out with Knockout Designs, where you can learn how to create this artwork and even some more ideas for creating designs with all heat transfer vinyls that look like this. But of course the glitter is my favorite, so I'm just going to line up my transfer here, going about 3 inches down from the top of my crew neck shirt. Using this 11 by 15 platen that I have here, it really makes it easy to line up graphics on ladies' garments because it helps to eliminate a lot of the bulk in the garment to get a nice flat print area. Now with Cat Cut Glitter Flake, you remember that it applied for a full 10 seconds at 320 degrees. I'm actually just going to tack the glitter flake down for about 3 to 5 seconds. That way I can hot peel the carrier back. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to inlay my additional glitter flake color into the center. And personally, I think this design already looks great just as the one color with that knockout design. But when I start to really inset the top glitter color, it really brings it to life in the two school colors. And so alignment is relatively easy. When you create this art where you can see the fully clear carrier allows it to drop directly down in there. Since I have my glitter flake exposed, I do definitely want to use a cover sheet. I recommend using cover sheets, usually with any heat transfer, unless it's a screen printed transfer, just to keep items from sticking to the heat press. And so now what I want to do is I want to change my time here, and I want to apply my second color for the full 10 seconds. So that first color only gets about 3 to 5 seconds, and then my full color is going to drop all the way down in for that full color image. Peel back the carrier there. I'll give you guys a few minutes to take a look on that knockout design. And Karen, did I have a question come in?
You do. Do you have any advice on how to print leggings? Because the leg isn't as wide at the bottom and it causes problems with seams. Will the sleeve and leg platen help with that?
As far as printing leggings, it depends on the size of the legging. If it's like a child's legging, the leg and sleeve platen won't help with that because it's still too wide and it's going to stretch it. So what you would want to do is you just would want to try to get them as flat as possible using either a print perfect pad or a heat printing pillow that you can stick down into those leggings. Traditionally, print perfect pads, which let me see if I can grab one here to show you guys, but they look kind of like a very thin mouse pad. This will be a good example because this is one that we actually cut up, but you can actually they come in a variety of sizes and you can cut them to size. So we trimmed this to create a print that we needed for a specific area, and we cut this extra part of the square off. But you can certainly cut these to any size to fit your design and the image that you're printing to get rid of those seams. Great, so that was the knockout design. Definitely one of my favorites. But if you've ever seen any of my Stahls TV classes, I am a big fan of offering the philosophy of good, better, best. So while I consider that my better option, I want to show you a best option. And so you'll find that you can traditionally sell more if you offer your customers different options in both prints and garments and let them choose the best one for their budget. And traditionally what's interesting is people always tend to go towards the one that's actually a little bit more expensive because they're able to see and compare it to other options. And so let's say my good option is just a regular basic heat transfer material. And then my better option was the 2-color Cat Cut Glitter Flake that we just saw me print. And so now I'm going to take that knockout design and I want to create a best option. And so I'm actually going to take my Cat Cut Glitter Flake and I want to pair it with rhinestones. Now when you start to mix heat transfer vinyl and rhinestones together, it's important to put the item that's going to be the flattest down first. And so I'm actually going to line up my Cat Cut Glitter Flake and apply it for the full application. Again, when applying rhinestones with heat transfer vinyl, you'll notice I'm doing that same gapping technique that I had done with a 2-color glitter flake because it's not recommended to direct layer the two. So I need to have that gap space. Instead of tacking this one, I am going to apply glitter flake for the full 10 seconds. That way it gets the full application and pressure that it needs. When you start to apply rhinestones with heat transfer vinyl, you'll find that the rhinestones are taking away some of the pressure. And so you want to make sure that your heat transfer vinyl is applied for the full application first. That way you get a nice durable print. And so now that I have that inlaid, I'm going to take my rhinestone transfer here and create my design. And you can decide what works best for you when you're starting to create designs like this. The way I created this specific design is I don't have access to a custom rhinestone design software. I'm just not there yet. And so what I've done is I actually sent my artwork out to Transfer Express to be completely vectorized. Switch my angle here so I can see it a little better. But they were able to completely create this custom transfer, and the sizing held true to the sizing of my graphic. That way I can drop the two in here together and create a nice full print. So I've got my rhinestones dropped on there, little glitter flake exposed. So I'm going to grab that cover sheet, and then I'm going to apply the rhinestones for their full application, which for these rhinestones is 320 degrees for 10 seconds, so it follows a similar application to CAD Cut Glitter Flake. They are cold peel, so I'm going to give them a few seconds to cool down before I peel that back. But while we do that, I'm going to bring up the other option that we had created with the 2-color glitter flake design. And so this helps to give you an option when you start to sell to your customers and you're saying, I have 2 options you can choose from. I have the option with the rhinestones, and I also have the option with the 2-color glitter. Peel that back there. We've got a completed design. Karen, do I have any other questions coming in?
Yes. Do the rhinestones last on the garment as long as the glitter flake will last?
That's a great question. And so rhinestones traditionally do have less of a durability than the glitter flake. And so CAD Cut Glitter Flake is going to be life of the garment. Traditionally rhinestones, especially if they're put into the dryer, will be about 20 washes, 25 washes. So I'd recommend to your customers hang dry anything with rhinestones to keep them as durable as possible.
Can you explain where you can get the rhinestone transfers again?
Yeah, absolutely. And so the rhinestone transfers were actually purchased from Transfer Express. And so Transfer Express offers a custom rhinestone software. And so you can send them your vector artwork. They'll create the custom rhinestones for you. And they price it by the square inch so they can send you the design ready to heat press. So even if you have rhinestone software, it's a nice tool sometimes just to keep in your back pocket when you don't have time to create stones. So these are 2 great options to be able to sell to your customers. Again, keep them in mind that good, better, best philosophy. Now I want to print one more mixed media design that's really popular with especially children's wear right now with creating bling designs, and that's mixing neon colors with glitter heat transfer vinyl and just creating a really unique effect by allowing that glitter to come out and pop certain areas of the design and creating that neon effect. And so what I've created here is a bow with a monogram, and monograms are incredibly popular in the bling market. So if you're printing for children's apparel, any kind of personalization, monograms are a really great option. And we just did a Stahls TV class last week that should be going up on the site soon, and that's going to show you how to create monograms through design software and also how to print a variety of them as well. So stay tuned to Stahls TV for that. I'm going to load my shirt onto the platen here. I just have a kid's black t-shirt here, but you can really get creative with some kids' tank tops, kids' t-shirts, even some tutus when you're adding personalization. I'm going to switch back to my overhead camera so you guys can see the application. And then when I start to layer regular heat transfer vinyl like CAD Cut fashion film that I'm using here in the neon coral color or the neon punch color, neon punch, if these two didn't overlap, I could find a way to heat press them together, but since they do, I'm actually going to tack fashion film down for only 2 seconds and then apply my glitter flake. And so if you haven't tried CAD Cut fashion film, that's one of the big benefits of this product is the ability to create multicolor graphics like this very quick and easy. And so I can just tack this down for 2 seconds Peel back my carrier hot, and it releases very easily so it doesn't distort the image at all. And then I can inlay my CAD-cut glitter flake over the design. Now this is important to note. You'll notice how my carrier from the CAD-cut glitter flake is actually going to cut through my heat transfer vinyl and fashion film. When you create mixed media like this is a common challenge that we run into, and it usually leaves a carrier mark. So what I know a lot of decorators will do is they'll heat press it for the full time, then grab that cover sheet and try to mash out the carrier mark. And so I'm going to do something similar to that, but I want to shorten my time. So I'm actually just going to cover this and do the tack process with CAD-cut glitter flake. So I'm just going to apply it for 3 to 5 seconds. Peel back my glitter flake carrier, which helps to reduce or completely eliminate any carrier. And then since I need that full 10 seconds for this application, I need a full 15 for fashion film. I want to ensure they both get the complete application that they need. So I'm going to go on the high side and I'm going to do 15 seconds for both applications, but 10 seconds would get you where you need to be. I like to be a little bit cautious sometimes with my heat transfer designs, and so a couple extra seconds is always better. Alright, so once we have that complete, the carrier mark's been completely removed, and we've got a nice personalized design with a monogram, CAD-cut glitter flake, and the neon punch fashion film. And so start to think about ways, especially as summer's right around the corner, of ways to start to use neon colors in your design. And with fashion film, it's the same price as all the other colors, so why not add it and create a really cool, outstanding look on an item, mixing the two together. And so this is a really cool design idea for personalization. So that started to kind of give you guys some ideas of what we can do with personalizing and creating mixed media. And so mixed media is one of the biggest trends right now with bling. Being able to take multicolor designs and add bling to them, or create bling multicolor designs. And so I want to show you a unique way to take a full color image and a photo image and just start to add pops of glitter or pops of foil or different finishes throughout the design. And so I'm going to take a digital transfer, which this has been printed on CAD Color Express Print. You can order this as a digital transfer or print it yourself on a solvent ink printer. And then I'm going to inlay CAD-cut glitter flake, which I just cut on my vinyl cutter, just to make the design really stand out in certain areas. And so if you visited any retail store lately, specifically for children's wear, you're starting to notice this being a huge trend with mascots and with picture images for a variety of different markets. I'm going to go ahead and load my ladies garment on here. So this is a great way to make some really nice looking spirit wear with a nice scoop neck 3/4 sleeve tank, and taking that same design idea and applying it to this design. And so I'm just going to preheat that to get some of the moisture and wrinkles out. And then I'm going to start by lining up my digital transfer in CAD Color Express Print. And so you could use the same principle if you have a screen printed transfer or a directed garment print, any large photo print, and being able to add spot colors of glitter with a CAD-cut glitter flake or a heat transfer vinyl like that. So I'm just going to line this up here. And then with CAD Color Express Print, it applies at 300 degrees, traditionally for 15 seconds, but remember I'm a big fan of just tacking it for a few seconds. So I'm just going to tack this down for 5 seconds and then release my carrier. That's going to allow me to shorten my application time, and it's going to make lining up these graphics much easier. Traditionally, when you go on the high side of a time for multicolor graphics, you're actually shrinking the transfer a little bit, which can make it difficult to line it up. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and line up my transfer design here. And then once we have this complete, I'll take a few questions that are coming in. So I'll line that up there. And now if you've ever used CAD-cut glitter flake heat transfer vinyl, you may notice there's a tendency sometimes for the glitter particles that are left on the carrier to be picked up by heat transfer vinyl. And so I want to try to eliminate that as much as possible. So I'm going to grab a cover sheet just to protect the exposed parts of the Express Print design. And I'm going to tack my glitter flake just for 3 to 5 seconds to help to eliminate the amount of time that that carrier with those glitter specks is on the heat transfer. So that helps to eliminate those particles from transferring over so they stay on the carrier. And then I'm just going to cover it and seal it for the full application to get a nice 10 to 15 second application on this print. That ensures that glitter flake gets the full time that it needs, and it also ensures that the express print gets its full and final application. Alright, lift that. Peel this back. And then you can really see how the parts of that design really start to come alive with using that full color transfer and adding some glitter to it to make that design stand out. And so Karen, did I have a few questions coming in?
Yes. Would glitter ever be used for boys' designs? And if not, what would be a good idea to spice up a masculine design?
Yeah, absolutely. So sometimes I've seen glitter used in masculine designs as well. Particularly, it's usually a white or an understated bling color. So Catgut Glitter Flake in white actually has more of a metallic look to it. So a lot of people will use that, or even the black, which is more understated. We're going to look later today at some more foil options. So a product that kind of offers a foil finish or a metallic finish would be much better to offer to a masculine market. And so you could take the same design and offer two finishes. You could offer a glitter, and you could also offer a foil with using a product like, say, Catgut Fashion Film Electric. All right, another question coming in?
Can you explain the different types of cover sheets and how you know which one to use?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. So with cover sheets, traditionally you can use either one of them if you're just looking to cover the transfer and protect the item. The craft paper, which you see me use multiple times throughout live classes, is for me just the most usable. It's more pliable, so I can quickly throw it on. It's not as heavy as a Teflon coated or a reusable cover sheet. And so this cover sheet I tend to move to a little bit more. Now the Teflon coated cover sheet is going to be a little bit more durable for multiple applications. After probably 30, 50 jobs, I might want to switch this out to another heat transfer. When I absolutely know when I want to use one is when I have a transfer exposed. And so let's take, for example, this Titan design where I had to cover up the entire heat transfer to protect it from the heater, and there was no plastic carrier on it anymore. When I cover this with this cover sheet, the craft paper, it's actually going to add a matte finish. If I would have chose the Teflon coated one, it actually would have glossed up my express print a little bit. And since I like to go towards the matte, more screen print look, I tend to go towards the craft paper. All good on questions? All right, keep them coming in. I'm actually going to switch the camera angle to another heat press so we can take a look at another full color option for adding bling. And so this one creates a way to add just spot color bling throughout a full color logo. But I want to take a look at how to create a full color logo that's all bling. And so we'll head over to the heat press to do that. Switch my camera angles here. You guys can walk with me. I've tried to keep my room pretty clean so that it doesn't look like an entire mess. So you guys think I'm pretty clean in my heat printing shops here. Okay, and so the next application, what we're going to do is we're going to create a full color bling print using a sublimation transfer with Catgut Glitter Flake. And so different from the solvent transfer that we just used, which was a digitally printed transfer on a solvent printer or ordered as a transfer, sublimation transfers, and I've cut mine up pretty good here, but sublimation transfers are printed on a sublimation printer with more water-based inks. So they're traditionally used for only polyester items. Luckily, Catgut Glitter Flake is a polyester-based item, and so I can actually take the sublimation transfer and allow the inks to dye Catgut Glitter Flake to create a full color glitter finish. And you'll find that the light colors of Glitter Flake tend to give you the best and most vibrant print. So I'm starting with white Glitter Flake. Silver also can give a vibrant print, as well as the hologram silver and some fluorescent shades. But white's my favorite, so I'm going to start there. And I'm going to load my item onto the clam style heat press. And this is just an oversized shirt from Boxer Craft. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a two-color effect with Catgut Glitter Flake. And so I actually have a sublimated multicolor print that I'm going to create with white and black glitter flake to create a two-tone effect, which creates some color blocking effects. It's really trending right now in apparel design, especially in bling. And so I moved to this heat press traditionally because it's all the way down at 300, or it's all the way up at 385 degrees versus the other machine that was down at 320 for my other applications. So I'm going to start to line up my transfer there. I can apply the glitter flake in one application, or I could do multiple applications depending on my graphic. Since I create that gap space with a two-tone, I'm going to apply this in one step. And so the first step for CAD-CUT glitter flake is applying it for only 2 seconds. So I'm going to apply that for 2 seconds. You can see how the carrier is already starting to release. And that just allows me to get the glitter flake down onto the garment. And so my application right now, my heat press is set at 385 degrees, so that was 2 seconds. Then I'm going to line up my sublimation transfer directly over my white glitter flake. And I've cut this pretty close, so I'm going to make sure everything's covered. If you cut it really close and you're worried about it sliding, you could also use some heat transfer tape to hold it down. I'm going to grab a cover sheet just to ensure that the sublimation inks don't bleed through the back of the transfer paper and over to my heat press, also to protect that black part that's exposed. Now, the reason I was able to do this directly onto the fabric is because it's 100% cotton and it's black. And so all things that we know about sublimation is if the transfer overlaps the design, like this one does here, then it's not going to transfer over to cotton. And if it does transfer a little bit, the black color is not going to allow it to show up. So this application works perfect for 100% cotton garments that are dark, like a black or a navy. Now, as I start to move to light garments, I would want to sublimate the glitter flake off of the item and then heat press it at the normal glitter flake application. And there's a full video on Stahls TV called How to Sublimate CAD-CUT Glitter Flake that shows you how to do the off the garment method as well. Now, to sublimate CAD-CUT glitter flake, I'm going to increase my time upwards of 35 to 40 seconds. The temperature and the time will vary depending on what your heat transfer manufacturer recommends. I would recommend following whatever that applies to ensure you get the best print. And so we'll lock that down for the full application, but that's going to then take those sublimation inks and allow them to dye directly into that white glitter flake design. So it creates a really cool tonal effect. I used a animal print, which is really trendy right now, but some other print ideas would be like a chevron, would be a stripe pattern, maybe some more mascot patterns, or maybe designs for schools. I really see a large opportunity here with being able to create a design specifically for a school by using maybe a chevron pattern in school colors or a different pattern effect like that. So it looks like the time's up. I'll go ahead and release the clam press. You can see a little bit of my ink is transferred over to that paper, so that was important to use the craft paper. That's another nice thing about craft paper. If this got the ink transferred over it, I could just throw it away and use another one for the next application or for my other applications. So I'll peel back my sublimation transfer. This becomes garbage. And then I've created a full color sublimated print directly onto the white CAD-CUT glitter flake. And so now it creates a really cool tonal effect. It just adds a unique area to this oversized shirt. And so for the final application, of course, I want to be able to personalize every area of this design, and the front is just a small piece. The big opportunity with oversized shirts is the ability to print the back of the shirt. And so I'm going to switch over to my other heat press just so that I can get away from the entirely hot heat over here at 285 degrees. So we'll walk back over this way, and we'll load our shirt back onto the Fusion heat press. Karen, as I start to change out my platen here for my application, do I have questions coming in?
Yes. Can you buy sublimated transfers from Stahls in those designs to do yourself?
You can absolutely order sublimation transfers from Stahls. We don't sell stock patterns, but if you send us a graphic, what I would say doing is find a pattern or buy patterns that you like for your specific customer, and you can actually create a block design and tell us you wanted a certain image. So for that design, if it was only 8 inches by 4 inches, I would want my transfer to be about 8.5 by 4.5. That gives me some room on the sides to have some gap space to line it up easier, and then also allows me to cut my costs so I can have as small of a design as I need and not a large piece. All right, drop in the 16 by 20 here. And then I'm going to do my oversized print. And so to do this, I'm actually just going to flip over the back of my shirt and thread it back onto my heat press. I'm going to start the preheating process by pulling it all the way to the far corner of the shirt. I'll preheat that side for a few seconds. Also adjust my pressure as I need to. And then I'm just going to do the same thing, slide it over to the other side, preheat it for the full application. And so this is a great process to use if you're printing any large oversized print. We show this often with the oversized jersey shirts because the prints are traditionally about 23 to 24 inches wide. But any large application, maybe an oversized leg print that's maybe 25 inches so it doesn't fit on the 6 by 20 leg print, table throws, anything that's really an oversized print, you can do in multiple applications like this with the heat transfer vinyl. And so I've taken just a white design in CAD cut glitter flake. I'm going to fold it in half and just create a little bit of a crease. And that crease in the center here is going to allow me to line the center of that crease mark up with the center of the back of the shirt. And so it helps me to center it a little bit onto my design. And then you can see how I just put that crease mark and I'm going to center it up with the tag on my blank. This one specifically is from Boxer Craft. I always laugh and I say I put a lot of trust in my blank suppliers, and then that tag's going to be center in the shirt, but it's pretty much as close as you can get. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to apply this in 2 applications just like I did the preheat. So I'm going to slide this over. Careful not to move the transfer, but CAD cut glitter flake has a sticky backing, so if you press it all down it'll hold in place while you slide it. I'm going to apply glitter flake for the full application. That's 10 seconds, 320 degrees. Once that's complete, all I got to do is slide it over and heat press the other side. And so the center part of the design is going to get heat applied twice, but you've seen us apply a lot of multicolor graphics, and so you know heat applying over a glitter heat transfer vinyl isn't going to cause any errors with application. Press that down for 10 seconds. Once that's complete, I can start to peel back my carrier, and I've got a nice oversized print. And so this allows you to really maximize the garment and create multiple print areas and just create a lot of unique sales opportunities. And so the oversized shirt is by far one of the most lucrative sales opportunities for decorators, especially with bling, because we're starting to see a lot more of glitter and rhinestones and different effects used on these oversized shirts. And so being able to personalize them with different effects opens you up to a lot of new opportunities with these garments. And so what we have here is a completely personalized back of the shirt. And then to give you guys a close-up view a little bit more of that front print where we did the two-tone effect using a sublimation transfer and CAD cut glitter flake, you get a really cool print on the shirt. And so think of some ways to take color block garments like I've done here and color block your graphics on them as well. And so that kind of covers a lot of things that we're seeing trending right now with glitter, but I've already had a couple of questions, so I want to talk more about foil effects and ways that you can achieve that using your heat press and heat transfers. And so what I've done here is I've just ordered a trendy top. This is one of my favorites right now for spring, so if you're decorating for spring fan wear or you're getting ready to start printing maybe for some summer fan wear for some leagues, this is a really cool mesh shirt from Sanmar, and so it just adds a really cool and unique athleisure look to the garment. Take out my 16 by 20 and I'm going to drop back in the 11 by 15. If you don't have interchangeable platens, 11 by 15 tends to be the most widely used because it allows you to print a lot of different children's items and a lot of different spirit wear, ladies' garments, and things like that. So I'm going to load my shirt onto my platen, and I'm going to grab my heat transfer, which is actually a relatively new product from Stahls, which is actually a CAD cut adhesive product. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a print that looks very similar to a screen printed foil. And screen printed foil has been tremendously popular for years. Of course, we're seeing it becoming even more popular in a variety of markets. And so selling to schools or selling to businesses, but Screen printing limits what you can do as far as personalization goes, or lower quantities, because you have to have a larger quantity to be able to order either screen printed heat transfers or have the screen printed ink, which creates the base for your item. And so what I'm going to print here is actually a CAD cut adhesive that works the same as the screen print adhesive would, except it's been cut on a vinyl cutter. So this is a new product from Stahls. Has a nice sticky backing, so you can even get some pretty good detail on the adhesive to create some really cool foil effects. And so once I have my transfer lined up, I'm going to apply the adhesive for only 5 seconds at 300 degrees. And then I can peel that hot, and that gets the adhesive down onto the garment. And so of course I want to make sure to cover this up with something. And though you can barely see it, I'm going to cover it with 2 different colors of heat transfer foil, keeping in mind that same color block trend that I had just showed you guys a bit earlier. And so if you're looking at this and you're thinking, wow, that distressed wet look looks really cool on that shirt, you're definitely going to want to cover this because this is sticky. But there is a heat transfer material that's called CAD Color Super Tech Gloss, and that's going to allow you to get that same print effect with just a heat transfer vinyl. And so that's CAD Color Super Tech Clear Gloss. I'm going to line up my 2 colors of foil. Anytime I place foil over a transfer, just because when the heat press pops up, I want to make sure it stays down and it's a cold peel application, I'm going to cover it with a cover sheet to hold those foils down in place. And so then the foil, which is just a standard heat transfer foil, which is used in the screen printing process as well, very inexpensive, it applies for 10 seconds at 300 degrees. So we'll press that down, and then we're going to let it have a completely cold peel before we finish our application. Put back the carrier. Again, that cover sheet helps to hold the foil down, so it's really key to keep that. Now, if you're doing a large run of these, you could certainly press them, set them aside, and come back and peel them later. Just keep in mind, if you're going to move them off the heat press, you want to try to keep the foil flat, and you don't want to just pull it off and rip it real quick. You would want to kind of fold the garment so the foil stays in place. That's going to give you the truest finish on the foil. And so I am so incredibly impatient, and I really love this product, so I'm starting to get anxious and wanting to peel back the design. But this, again, just another idea of taking a two-tone effect to the graphic. So I'm going to peel back the red to create my first top color of the foil, and then I'm going to peel back the silver to create the bottom part of the design. And so you've seen how it's created a really unique foil effect that looks similar to what you see with screen printing, very soft. And it's created a really cool print that can be personalized using just your vinyl cutter and the heat press. And so this is the new CAD cut adhesive with heat transfer foil. Some other ideas with this would be to kind of create a distressed print where you kind of crinkle the foil and then maybe the bottom's distressed but the top is a solid color, so you can really get creative with some color blocking effects using this. Did I have a question, Karen, that came in?
What's the durability of the foil?
Great question. So heat transfer foil is the same durability as screen printed foil. And so I would definitely recommend that your customers hang dry these garments and don't throw them in the dryer. You're probably looking about 25 washes before you're going to start to see some cracking. It's pretty traditional for this type of product. Awesome. And so I'm going to go ahead and peel this off, but again, that's just a really cool, unique effect to get that metallic foil print on the garment. And this is a great option for a masculine look as well as a ladies garment as well, like we've put here on the mesh sleeve fan shirt. And so looking at some other options for printing and personalizing with metallics, I want to look at a full color option while we're over here still at the heat press. Being able to print and personalize performance wear with foils and glitters and metallics is a really new popular trend as we're starting to see more fabrics move towards athleisure, where they're polyester performance wear or they're a synthetic rayon polyester tri-blend mix. And so this is a really great zip-up jacket from Sanmar. It has kind of a cool heathered textured finish. And what I want to do is I want to create a corporate look again that takes a metallic foil finish and creates a full color effect. And so this product is just called CAD Color Foil Tech, so you could order this as a transfer, or again, if you owned a solvent ink printer, you could print this on, say, a Roland VersaCam. And so I want to make this as a left chest logo, and so to lay this just on top of the press as it is, I'm going to have a lot of bulk that gets into the way. So I've got pockets, I've got seams, I've got zippers, and so I want to isolate my one print area. And so to do that, I'm going to swap out my 11 by 15 for the perfect left chest platen, also known as the 6 by 10. And so it's 6 by 10, kind of works for bags. Mostly I love it for left chest graphics, but it's a good small platen for the bags also. Drop that on there. Then I'm going to load on my left chest. Of course, I can double check my pressure, make sure I have enough pressure for the left chest graphic. Sometimes when you're changing out interchangeable platens, you'll notice you need to adjust the pressure just a hair, just from the change of the platen and the size. Now, when I switch to the small 6 by 10, even if my heat press or my transfer says a medium pressure, which on a Hotronix heat press is a 4 to 6, I'm usually going more around a 2 or a 3 because that's still going to be like a medium pressure on this small platen. Because keep in mind, you're putting a lot of mass down onto a small platen, and when you're printing performance wear, too much pressure like that is where we're often seeing a lot of scorch marks. And so that, along with this heat transfer, which has the option for a low temperature adhesive, helps to prevent any scorching and still giving you that metallic finish. And so I'll cover this up just to keep the carrier from curling. This product tends to have a little bit of a curl to it, especially if the heat's a little high. I'm still at 300 degrees, but this would apply as low as 280 degrees for 2 steps of 5 seconds. So I'm going to tack this down for the first 5-second application. I'm going to peel back my carrier. And then since this has a metallic finish and requires a 2-step application, when I go to cover this up, I'm actually going to switch my cover sheet to a Teflon cover sheet or a sticky or a coated cover sheet like this one here, and that's going to add a little bit more of a gloss to it rather than matting it down. I want to keep that metallic finish as true metallic as possible. So 5 more seconds to complete the full application. And I've got a completed design. And so this is perfect for those graphics that you want to add a metallic finish to, that either to performance wear, so you're offering a low temperature metallic special effect, or just for full color logos. And so if you're selling to a lot of businesses, we're seeing full color in businesses and even in retail really trending. And so this is a way to still get a metallic print that's really true, very durable. This is life of the garment, and again, very soft and has some stretch to it as well. So nice option there with CAD Color Foil Tech. And then for my final application, I was hoping my other heat press would be cooled down enough, but we'll go ahead and run it at 300 degrees. This product is one that is another new metallic product that's on the market, very popular for personalizing performance wear as well as a variety of different prints because it creates a really unique metallic effect. And so this product, which is called CAD Cut Glaze, it allows you to create some really unique iridescent metallics. And iridescent is one thing we're really seeing trending across graphics with metallic prints specifically. And this one actually color shifts depending on what it's applied to and the color of the item it's applied to and things that are around it. So it's really unique. And so you can see how it looks here on, say, a tan or a light colored fabric. It's kind of an understated silver color. And the product comes in 5 colors. This is silver, but it also comes in a gold, blue, green, and red, I believe. Got them all? And so when I put it on the blue shirt, it's going to create a different effect. And so you can really get creative with how you position this to your customers. You can create some tonal effects. You can create some understated branding on white or light garments. Or you can even create some really bold prints on a darker fabric. And so this is going to create a pretty bold silver print on this performance shirt. So I'll preheat it to get the moisture and wrinkles out. What I originally really wanted to show was the fact that it goes down as low as 265 degrees, which if you have challenging performance fabrics, like I know this one's going to be, 265 is really ideal for helping to eliminate those scorch marks because it's even lower than the 275 degree threshold that traditionally performance fabrics can be applied to. So I'm just going to cover this with a cover sheet since it's a cold peel as well and tends to pop a little. I actually going to use my other cover sheet because that one's pretty dirty. You guys probably saw that as I went to throw it on from my sublimation transfer, so I don't want that to transfer over. And then I'm going to go ahead and apply this down for 10 seconds. Again, I'm at 300 degrees. Should have checked my pressure before I changed it, because I can feel it's pretty light. Okay, 10 seconds, medium pressure, 265 to 300 degrees. While that's heat printing, Karen, do I have some questions coming in?
Could you give the name of this product again, and also can it be printed on caps?
Yeah, so the product is called Cat Cut Glaze, and it will apply to pretty much any fabric. So any cotton, polyester cap, it'll apply just fine to it. Just keep in mind the color shifts depending on what it's applied to. And if you go to stahlstv.com, there's an entire video on Cat Cut Glaze that shows it on a variety of different fabrics. So you can even see some different prints that you can get by printing it. I'm so impatient. It's a cold peel, yet I keep touching it hoping it's cooled down in the time that I've been talking. And so if you guys have questions, feel free to chat them in as we start to show the last design here. I'm going to peel this back. And Cat Cut Glaze now creates a really durable foil print. So this is going to be life of the garment. And you can see how it's really got a nice stretch to it as I started to stretch it on that performance fabric. Really soft. And then just the color shifting abilities of it is really cool and really unique because you're starting to create some different prints depending on what you apply it to. And so I always recommend to customers to think about how you want to position it before you start to sell it. So I like to show logos on, say, a white fabric, show the same colors on a dark fabric like a black, and then also show them on a neutral shade, maybe a gray or a tan or something like that. Tonal effects are really popular, and then again I really like this silver color used on the blue, which it almost picked up a light blue shade, and you can see how it starts to shift because that blue fabric is showing through. And that's just the benefit of using a translucent metallic material like this rather than one that's opaque and has a white backing, so it'll change depending on what it's applied to. And so Karen, have I had any other questions coming in as we start to wrap up some of the new bling trends we can create with the heat press?
Can you layer rhinestones on top of the glaze?
I still don't recommend layering rhinestones directly on top of glaze. You're going to want them both to touch the fabric, so you'll want to do a trapping technique for the artwork. Great, so it looks like I have all the questions coming in. If you guys have additional questions, I encourage you to head over to the Stahls TV forum. You can chat them in there. We're happy to respond to you, as well as other decorators that are on there looking at posts and looking for information. I appreciate you guys coming on today. We have an exciting launch event, so if you haven't signed up for it, on Monday the 18th, it's from 11 to 3 o'clock. And so we're going to be launching a brand new product. So if you own a vinyl cutter and you use heat transfer vinyl, it's really going to be unique in helping to change the way that you produce graphics. And so you can come anytime between 11 to 3. You can sign up for that at stahlstv.com on the live events page. It's just called the Stahls TV launch event. So looking forward to seeing you guys all there. Thanks for attending. See you next time.